You guys, welcome back to another episode of the Personal Collection. I'm here with Kelly, and Kelly's PC is 3 generations of Yastrzemskis. I can't wait to dive into some of the different cards. You guys know Carl Yastrzemski, one of the greatest Boston players, just incredible career, around 100 WAR as well. And his son right now is also, I think he's playing for the Giants currently.
That's his grandson, but yeah.
His grandson, the Giants. Yeah, so his grandson's still around, but we're gonna be taking a look at 3 generations because his son also played in the minor leagues. It's a really, really cool PC. But first, how did you get into collecting before you went after Yaz cards?
Actually, the Yaz cards were what started my collection. My grandfather took me to my first major league game in Milwaukee. We lived in Wisconsin. I went to Old County Stadium, and the Red Sox were in town playing the Brewers. And as a 4.5-year-old kid, Yastrzemski hit the first home run I'd ever seen live. So it broke my grandfather's heart because I wasn't a Milwaukee fan, but he never badmouthed the Red Sox or Yastrzemski after that.
So you became a Boston fan for life. And did you collect anyone else, or just strictly, I'm going to collect only Yastrzemski cards from then on?
Well, when I was little, it was there was no internet. There, shows were few and far between back then, and so it was pretty much just build sets back then. I didn't live in the New England area, so I didn't get any of the regional releases for Yastrzemski, but I did find, and that first birthday that I had after that game, my grandfather had bought me. He went out and found Carl's rookie card and his second-year card, and bought them both for me for my birthday. So that was what started my Yastrzemski collection right then.
Wow, I gotta ask, do you still have those 2 original cards, or did you?
Yes, I do actually. Hold on just a second. Finally sent them in to get graded.
6.5 too. Wow, that's a high grade.
Yeah, the second year isn't as good, but for being 5 years old when I got them and having them for that long, and they're still being that good a condition, I'm happy.
No, you can't go wrong. The 61's cool too. It still has the rookie emblem on there as well. So a lot of people like both the rookie from 60 horizontal card and the vertical one from 61. But
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool to see some of the regional releases as well and other stuff that you collected with that. I had a question though with the Yastrzemski. Does he also have a Venezuelan that year, or did they?
Yes, he does. Yeah.
So
I haven't tracked one of those down that I can afford yet.
I saw the McCovey Venezuelan at the National, but I did not see the Yaz there. This guy had like a bunch of the Venezuelan cards from the 60s, and crazy asking price on McCovey. It's so cool. It's like one of those cards one day when I get the funds, I want to get some of the Venezuelan rookies, because I think it's just, they're so tough to find, especially in like decent shape. Like you're happy with you're even happy with the one, but like if you could find a 2 or 3, you were thrilled. Can't remember what the grade was, but it was so cool to see in person for the first.
Oh yeah. I've got a few of the Venezuelans, but not the rookie.
Some of the different complete sets. When did you really start focusing on some of the rarer releases that Yaz had?
It was probably wasn't until I was out of high school, probably early 90s, mid 90s. And even then, those were few and far between because I was having kids then too. So
were those mostly?
I had to pay for the kids before the cards.
No, 100% on that one. But were those found at like card shows? Were you able to locate them at LCSs, or how were you able to find some of those cards? Because
I did a lot of mail order through catalogs. Ordered a lot through Kit Young, and there's what is it? It's I think now it's gfg.com, I believe. It's Dave's vintage. I can't even remember. It's just an ad I saw in one of the old Beckett's or Tough Stuffs or whatnot, and had them mail me flyers or catalogs, what they had. And between that and the thick almanacs that the Sports Collectors Digest comes out with every year, flipping through those pages and they're like, oh, wow. I'd never seen that. Never heard of that.
That's one of the beauties of like at least going to card shows for me is when I walk around, I can find new cards that I had no idea that existed, whether it's like regional releases, or the food beverage cards. Like you get to see so much on the floor that you just don't often see, whether in like marketplaces or just on social media. It's so cool.
Oh, I know.
Now, what was the decision to start collecting his son? Because his son, obviously, we were talking a little bit earlier, he didn't make the major leagues, was a minor leaguer. So what had you go from collecting Carl Yastrzemski to his son, which I don't know his son's name. I apologize for that, but
well, his son's actually named Carl Michael Yastrzemski, but when he got into baseball, he went by Michael or Mike, and so now that's totally thrown everything out of whack because now you've got his grandson who's named Mike.
Yep.
But what got me into it was my youngest son. I forget how old he was, and he brought it up to me one day, asked me who my favorite player was. And so I explained to him, Carl Yastrzemski. He goes, well, Dad, we need to go see him play. And I'm like, well, buddy, he's retired. And he actually started to cry because he was just so little. He was like, I wanted to go see him. We need to go see him. And I told him, I said, well, I said, his son used to play, but he doesn't play anymore. I said, but his grandson's getting ready to go into college and for Vanderbilt. And, he was going to be playing there. And it hit, it's like out of the mouths of babes, it's like, why am I not collecting this? Because baseball's always been a family hobby, family love, passion. And it's like, why isn't my collecting reflecting that? So it was that was the point. I had a couple of the minor league sets that actually had cards of his son in it when he played with the Durham Braves. And from then it was just like, I need to focus on this. I need to expand to more than just Carl. And that was what does it. And my youngest son to this day now, he's like, Dad, when you die, your collection goes to me because I'm the one that, gave you the idea to expand everything. And so, yeah, so he's hoping to keep everything together when I pass away, but I don't think his wife will be too happy about that.
Is he helping you right now with Mike Yastrzemski cards? Like as soon as he got his first Bowman, I'm guessing you were jumping all over those cards. Like I need to grab these right now.
I did actually. It was even before the Bowmans. His first. I mean, of course I went and got his minor league cards when he was in the minors, just from those teams before he hit Bowman. But he had one in Elite Extra Edition. And that was back when he had just started in the minors. He was in the short season Aberdeen, the New York Penn League.
Was that like 1 year before the Bowman? I know that happens with a few different people.
Bowman, his first Bowman didn't come out till 2015. So the Elite was a couple of years, that was 2013.
Oh wow!
But before that, even I've got a couple when he played in the Cape Cod League. Summer League in college. He played for Cotuit, the Kettleers, in 2010 and 2011.
Were you able to also, not to fully interrupt this, but were you able to watch a game with Mike Yastrzemski with your son?
With my son, no. We never ended up getting to a game. At the time, I lived in northern Indiana, and Tennessee was just too far of a drive for Vanderbilt just to go to a game. I mean, I've seen him play a few times. He has definitely helped me with my collection, though. He still buys me, any Father's Day or birthday or Christmas presents. He's always looking for Yastrzemski stuff, no matter who it is.
And how many unique cards do you currently have in your Yastrzemski PC?
Oh, unique cards. I'd probably say close to 1,000, but over all three generations. Unique pieces, because I've got, I delve into more than just the cards. You know, I don't know if you see behind, there's
A little bit, yeah.
the Pressman game from '62, and I've got posters and jerseys and hats and bats and, you know, all that stuff.
Whole room is decorated just off of Yaz stuff, I assume.
Yes.
It's cool. So let's take a look at some of your Yaz cards. I know obviously we saw 60 and 61, but let's see some of the other cards from the playing days.
Okay. From his playing days.
Well, it doesn't matter. It could be retired stuff as well. I know there's some cool jersey.
Well, I'm gonna start off with this one. I know I'm pretty sure you've had Mark Hoyle on before. Hoyle's the big Red Sox collector. He goes all the way back to like the 1800s. He owns like every base Red Sox card there is and tops. And
I don't think I've had Mark Boyle on.
He is a huge Red Sox fan. He does a lot. He collects a lot from the '67 team. And I actually have, it's hard to find anything for him to trade to him. And I actually have one that he does not have, and it's a rare issue. Let's see if I can get this up in here. This is the 1970 Dayton Daily News bubble gumless card, they called it. It's all it is a trimming from a newspaper. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, these were only issued, you know, in the Dayton Daily newspaper. And they're very hard to come by. You very rarely see them. And the only reason I've got mine is it was in a Yastrzemski lot for sale on eBay, and they just didn't know what they had. And yeah, nobody went and looked for it, obviously. I think I paid less than $20 for the lot, and it
Great deal.
was probably in the lot. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, here is another. This is a rare one too. I'm probably going to butcher his name. This was put out by Michael Paraskevis. He's an American cartoonist and illustrator, and he was best known for a Canadian animated show. Oh, I can't even, children's show is what it was. But he was a big baseball fan, and for a few years he made his own sets to give out to family and friends and whatnot. And this is one of his drawings of his cards. He limited to like 250 sets.
How many people were in the sets that he drew?
I believe this was either 88 or 89, and I think there was around 30. But very hard to come by.
I didn't even know this existed back then. Did the grading companies grade those, or is it one of those releases where they don't right now?
I don't know. I've never tried to send that one in. And okay, there's a few of these. I worked in printing for most of my life, so I love the printing errors and things on cards. And I got this one. I actually had this one graded too. This is on the front. You just look at it and it's a typical 64 tops.
I'm guessing a blank back, or is it a wrong back?
It's got like 4 different backs on it.
I just picked up a Bob Gibson like that in a lot.
These to me are the true one-of-ones of the hobby.
They're cool.
Because there's no telling how many of these are actually out there. There can't be many.
That and the blank backs. I mean, blank backs aren't one of ones, but like, man, they're so tough.
Yeah, I've got a 68 tops league leader card. That's a blank back.
They're so cool. Do you think that came from a sheet directly, or was that one of the pack pulled ones?
It's hard to tell. It really is hard to tell.
Yeah.
You know, because once I get, like I said, I worked in printing for 25, 30 years. It's not hard for a sheet to go into where the cutters are, the flatbed cutters are, and nobody noticed that the printing is wrong, there's no printing, and just start chopping away.
Look at some of the different error cards too that happened because the printing process messed up. I mean, the Frank Thomas rookie card with the note on front. I mean, that was a regional distribution, I believe, in the Northeast, but like it took them forever to find out. There's like, I think what, 1,000, 2,000 copies of that out there.
Yeah, and it's not just the Frank that got affected by
There's like
that.
3 cards, right?
Actually, I think it was more like a half a dozen,
Oh, geez.
but they weren't as drastic as what the Frank was. It was like a piece of paper had for whatever reason, what my thought is a piece of paper from the roll started to go through and caught onto the blanket that puts the image onto the paper or onto the stock, and the ink didn't transfer onto the blanket because of that, foreign object or whatever. It could have been a shop rag. Who knows what it actually could have been to go in through there.
Think about the luck of it being Frank Thomas, because he wasn't the #1 prospect at that time.
No.
There was other people that were way ahead. Like, I imagine if it happened to anyone else, like, would that card be worth as much as it is today? Obviously, there'd be some value to it because it was a big error, but compared to where the Frank Thomas is today, I don't know. Like, it boggles my mind how interesting that is. Like, everything had to line up for this iconic card to happen in the hobby.
Oh yeah, there's no telling that because of the big hurt that really increased the value of that card.
That's one I definitely want to get one day as well. I know I talked about the Venezuelan earlier, but man, that's like a grail card, especially in high grade. Is like, when you think of error cards, at least for me, that's like the first error card I think of for this hobby.
Yeah, almost definitely.
And then I know people talk about like the FF card, but like that was still the original photo taken, right? Like, I know
that wasn't an error.
It wasn't an error, right? Like,
no.
They obviously made 3 different versions of it that scribbled out, and then like I think it's like a black tape or black bar over it. And then you also have the Randy Johnson card with the cigarette ad in the background, which the
Marlboro sign.
Yeah, which they covered up. But like, when I think of error cards, I think of that Frank Thomas. It's the first card, and it's like, man, it's very iconic, especially in an era.
No, the card companies were not about low production back then.
And unfortunately, whether we are or not, I think we are going towards another junk wax era.
Oh, I honestly believe it. Yeah. I haven't bought unopened product in over 10 years now.
It's so much fun opening up packs, but it's so unaffordable. Like for someone to sit there, Blaster's now $25-$30 alone just to buy it, and you're going to get a lot of comments in there. And if you're trying to get something a little bit nicer, you're already looking at $400 or $500 or more just to open up a box to get a few autograph cards. For me, like, I'd rather just get the autographs or the players that I want right now. I'm more of a singles person than opening up boxes, but man, it is fun opening up wax.
Oh yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. But for me, it didn't make sense because I'd open up box after box after box and maybe get one Yastrzemski.
Yeah.
All the rest of it, I really didn't care. Once I started to focus on primarily nothing but Yastrzemski, it didn't make sense for me to buy unopened product.
Yeah, and there's only so much money. Like, if you're going to allocate X amount of dollars per card, so you're going to go after a PC card, or you're going to go after a box and take the gamble with it. Exactly. At least for me, I'd rather just buy the card I want for my PC. Like, there's always going to be boxes out there to open. Build your PC before some of those cards either get expensive or taken off the market. I mean, like with your example right there, like the one, it was a 71 or 72, that newspaper one.
Oh, that was now you're gonna make me think. I think it was 1970, I believe.
Oh, 70. Sorry, I had the year off. But the 1970, like, you're not gonna be able to find that all the time. And that was the same cost as a Blaster. I'd rather have something like that in my PC and cherish that. And then one day later on, like, once I have the big pieces of my PC done, all right, let me open up a box, have some fun with it.
Oh yeah.
Although, not gonna deny it though. Like, imagine pulling like a Carl Yastrzemski, like bat knob or bat barrel and some of these new products. That is pretty cool.
Oh, trust me, I would love to have one of those.
It's like Big Poppy 343 on Twitter. He always posts those type of cards that I don't know how he acquires all this stuff, but he has some of the sickest like bat knobs, bat barrels, and everything like that.
Oh yeah, I have no idea how these guys find them. It's just cool. It astounds me. Well, I never had the money because I had too many kids. So acquiring those, even in the secondary market, for me wasn't really an option.
No, I'm saying even like locating them or finding them, because you have like super hard to find one-of-one cards, and a lot of those people, if they pull them, they're not going to sell it. So just being able to have the contacts that know like who owns these cards, or being able to find them at card shows or wherever else, it's tough. But it's so cool seeing those type of collections. Like, this is why I like this series. You get to see a little bit of different PCs from different eras and everything.
Okay, here's one. This one, the first Yastrzemski super collector that I had ever heard of. The man's name was Richard Grabowski. He actually put out a book with his collection called Yaz 2. And he's no longer with us, but in the book he had shown, there was a page of a picture, had a picture with about a half a dozen different Topps issue years of Yastrzemski cards printed on stamps. Now, he never knew who did these, and I have yet to track down where they actually came from. He had, I think it was the 72 Topps he'd shown and the 64 Giant. Is that right? 64 Giant or 68 Giant? The years are escaping me now. I'm getting older and I'm forgetting so much, but he had like the 66 or 76, I'm sorry, 76, 77. They were printed on these stamp sheets. Well, one he didn't have, and I've seen this like, I think 3 or 4 times now, and I was actually fortunate enough to pick one up, but it's a 75. I'm trying to get that glare off of there.
Oh,
The 75 Topps issue printed on a stamp.
were they like cards printed at home, or were they like
The information on them is like non-existent. Everybody I've had, every collector, Red Sox collector, Yastrzemski collector that I've asked over the years, nobody has any information on them. And I've been offered money. It's like 9 times out of 10, every time I show that, it's like, where did you find that?
Yeah, I didn't even know those existed. So I hope someone, if you're watching this video and you know anything, leave it down below, because I've never seen anything like that before.
Okay, this next one goes back to the printing issue. This is a 69 Topps decal proof that I never went through the die cutter to put the decal edge on it.
I was gonna say, it doesn't have the edges across it.
No, the back of it still has the printing of the back.
Oh,
There are some 68 proofs as well. You usually find those in a 9-card sheet, and those actually have the signature is in red and not blue.
I know there's a viewer of this channel, Adam Ville Graphics, and he's gonna enjoy that one. He just picked up the full set at the Atlanta card show for the 69.
Of the 68 or the 69?
The 69, the decal edges. So
And Peachy did one that had a different style of decal edge, and the signature was in black instead of blue.
and does it say printed in Canada then on the back as well, or does it say else?
I'm not sure right off the top of my head.
No worries.
And I'd have to dig mine out. Now that would take me some time.
You're good, man.
Okay, this one is another error card, but this wasn't printing. This was the assembly of the card. This was 2004 Donruss throwback threads. It's only numbered to 50. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it. It's got a bat and a jersey swatch.
Yep.
But if you look really closely, they're in the wrong spot.
Oh man.
And it's actually, I mean, they actually printed on there where the jersey and where the bat was supposed to be. And I have not seen another one of these yet to know if they did all of them that way. I just knew once I saw that one, hey, I need to get that one.
Yeah, number to 50 is tough too.
Yeah.
Especially an older release.
Pardon?
He said, especially with an older release as well, they just don't hit the market.
Yeah, 2004, they were still printing a bunch. And I mean, to go through like the online checklists and whatnot, 2004 was a crazy year for Yaz. I bet they printed more cards in 2004 of him than he had throughout his entire playing days.
I think that lines up with, I did an interview with a Ricky Henderson collector on the channel, and he was talking about the early 2000s as well, being like crazy amounts of his cards out there.
Oh yeah, it's insane. And trying to figure out how they're different.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, they put it on the screen, they type up, you know, what it is, but a lot of times you don't have the picture to go with it. I was like, well, okay, which one is it? Because they're all numbered the same. They're all.
Yeah, it's tough. But those early 2000s had some great patch cards, though.
Oh yeah.
And like absolute stuff, like where they did jumbo patches, the jerseys, and then the prime cuts and everything. Man, those are so beautiful.
Those were beautiful. This one was just a PSA goof. I'm too close. It says it was a 62 post labeled by PSA, but actually it's a 62 Jello.
The Jellos, those are cool too. There was a person at the New York show that had a full Jello box. Can't remember who was on it though, but still in
Oh, I'd love to find a complete box. Oh, I would love to find that.
Jello was included as well.
And then here's a couple we brought up earlier about the Venezuelans. This at one time, and I haven't checked the stats on it since, but this at one time was tied for the highest grade of this card, the 66 tops Venezuelan Yastrzemski.
5.5. That's crazy, man.
I've actually got 2 copies of that card. I've got a 5 and a 5 and the 5.5. And this was a 68 leader card. At the time, it was the only one graded when I sent it in, but that's been quite a few years. I'm sure there's more now.
And I'm sure that there's the Opeachy and Milton Bradley on that also, or
Pardon?
was there an Opeachy and Milton Bradley with that as well?
Opeachy, yes. Milton Bradley, no. For whatever reason, Carl was left out of the whole Milton Bradley releases.
I think Bench was as well. I want to, if there's a Bench Milton Bradley, I want it, but I don't think there is.
I don't know.
Not familiar. I don't think there is.
Okay, now we'll step down to his son. His son only had, as far as the basic cards, that you find in, well, they weren't even in packs. They were all team releases. He only had like eight cards issued. And this one was actually, this one wasn't one of those. This was one I had found later on. And it's a blank back. It's a big card.
Oh, geez.
It was a promotion put out by Woodward's is a, or was, I don't know if they still are, they're a department store out of Canada. And then this Jansen, I believe they were out of Portland, Oregon, was a swimwear maker. And I don't know how those two got there. I'm assuming that the department store carried the swimwear, and it's blank back. So there's, the only thing I can go by the date as far as is the team that he was on was the Vancouver Canadians. And that was 88. That was his last year.
Super thin stock, it looked like as well.
And then this one, this is actually a press photo of Mike from, I'm assuming spring training, because he's in a Chicago White Sox uniform. And I've contacted, I don't know how many different White Sox fans, trying to find out what actual number he was wearing, because he's covered it up. He covered it up with his arm there in the picture.
Oh, man.
They're just, it's just stuff like that, especially with him, because he never made it to the majors. And that brought up another thing for me here, because everybody was talking about Wander Franco's rookie card. Which one's his rookie card? And they're like, well, it's got to be from the major release and this and that. And okay, well, Mike never had a rookie card then. How is that? That doesn't make any sense to me. He still played professional baseball. He was still getting paid on those minor league teams. One of those has got to be a rookie card. Somewhere he's got to have one.
My definition of it, though, I look at it like each person has like a minor league or a foreign first card, and then they have like their MLB rookie card.
Yeah.
That's how, and I know it goes against the grain of a lot of like the cards in the 80s or 90s and even early 2000s, but that's at least how I view it, because how the hobby has transitioned in the past few years, where it's like everyone collects either the first Bowman, and or the rookie card. So each person had like 2 desirable years. So if we're going to apply that philosophy, we should apply it backwards as well towards some of those 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. Probably controversial a bit, but that's how I view it. It's like Zach Greinke, his quote unquote rookie card is 2002, but got called up into the major leagues in 2004 and has a prospect card in 04 as well, where it's like a dual image, like they did with a lot of the rookie cards back then. But most people say, oh, his only rookie cards in 02, but never got called up to major leagues until 2004. So, I mean, if we're applying how we apply rookie cards today, that 02 would be like the first Bowman Chrome of his, because that's what he had, a paper and a Bowman 02. And then the 04 would be his Topps rookie. And because he didn't have any Topps Golds or Topps Black or any of the type of variations in 02, his first Topps card, I believe as well, was 04. So I don't know. That's my opinion on it. That's how I'm going to continue to collect. Maybe the hobby will change. Maybe we'll have some more defined criteria over time. Who knows?
Well, and that goes back to Carl. I mean, I'll always consider the 60 his rookie card, but he never played a game in the majors in the 60. He didn't get called up until 61.
And that's why it has also the rookie card logo on the 61 as
Yeah.
well. You want to put on
the
the
gold
screen?
cup.
You want to put on the screen real quick the 61 rookie, or not the rookie, but the 61 card so people can see it.
The 61?
Yeah, just to go over the concept real quick. You can see.
Oh, it doesn't have the gold cup. It's just got a star.
It says 61 rookie though.
Yeah.
So he's one of those interesting cases too. I mean, who knows? The hobby always changes their definitions over time. So I'm sure there's other players as well. I haven't gone all the way back into the 60s and 70s and really deep dived into that stuff.
Collectors are fickle.
I always knew the 60 was, but I didn't realize he didn't play in 1960. So that brings up another interesting case. Now we're gonna have a debate over what year's the Yaz rookie in a few years.
Okay, now here is his grandson's very first card. It's 2010 Cotuit Kettleers from the Cape Cod League. It was a summer baseball league when he was in college. And I almost didn't get these cards. I've got both his summer league cards, and I've got uncut sheets of both of them. And at the time, I had inquired about them, wanted to order them, and had my contact and had it all set. And then something came up between those leagues and the NCAA or whatnot, and they didn't want. I forget how it was. It was because of people that were still eligible for draft or the baseball draft or whatnot, and there was a big dispute how they weren't going to be allowed to release those cards, sell those cards. I don't know what it was, but the guy was like, "You started these discussions with me before that came up. If you want these, you need to take them now, and I'll sell them to you now." So I was like, "Okay." So I picked, and like I said, I've got both issues, the 2010, the 2011. The 2011, Beckett actually didn't grade because they said it was altered, and I'm like, who's going to alter a Cape Cod League ball card of somebody who's, and I sent these in while he was still in college. So it's like he's not even been drafted yet. Who's going to alter these?
That's crazy.
Okay, this next one, this is just one of the harder ones to find. It can be found, but it's one of Mike's harder ones. That's not, one of the one-of-ones or anything out today. This was from 2014, and it's the All-Star card. This was actually, he's in his Shorebirds jersey, and the first time I went to go see Mike play was the weekend before the minor league all-star break. And that was those were his last games with the Shorebirds. He got moved up to Frederick, the Frederick Keys. He got moved up to there right after the All-Star break. So I always thought it was kind of cool that, you know, I've actually got a tie to, you know, a emotional, or not emotional, but personal tie to the jersey that he's wearing in the game here for the Shorebirds. And I've actually got, I contacted the Shorebirds, and I've got his nameplate from the back of that jersey.
That's cool.
I've got, it ended up, the game I went and saw him in ended up being a doubleheader because it kept getting rained out. And I had to extend my vacation just to be able to watch him play from work because of the drive I had to make. But this was what really hit me too, because, you know, the first time I ever saw his grandfather play, he hit a home run. And Mike, not to be outdone, the first time I saw him play, he hit 2 home runs. And I've got the lineup card from game 1 that he hit the 2 home runs. And I've got, you know, like I said, I've got his nameplate from the back of the jersey. And it was just, and oh, at that game, this is the prize to my collection. I might as well bring it out now. This started out as just an index card signed by Carl's son. And I may have to, hold on, let me take this out of the case.
You're good.
But I took it with me to that game to have Mike sign it. Let's see if we can get this up here. The big signature in the center, that's Carl's son. That was one of the first autograph I ever got of his. And then underneath his dad, that's Mike, who's playing for the Giants right now. And it took me several years to get Carl's to sign this. Carl does like one autograph show a year up in the New England area. And I could never make it. So I was always constantly calling or emailing his agent at the time, who was his cousin. Oh goodness, his last name's Gordon, Dick Gordon. And every year I'd email him or call him and ask him if I could send that to have Carl sign it. And for the first few years, I kept getting no. Carl will not sign that. I won't present it to sign it, because there was bad blood between Carl and his son for a long time. And I can't, there's no more getting any more autographs of his son, because his son passed away in, I believe it was 2006. There was complications from a surgery. But anyway, it wasn't until the Red Sox dedicated the bronze statue outside of Fenway Park to Carl, and Carl started giving a speech afterwards, and he actually broke down a little bit, talking about his son, how he wished his son was there. And that was in I think it was September of 2013 when they did that. And so his one-time signings in November, so I hit up his cousin, his manager, and I was like, hey, can I send this in this year? Will he sign it? And he goes, go ahead and send it in. I'll see if he'll sign it. And I wrote an extensive letter along with it. Never got a reply. Carl's a very private person, but he did end up signing it for me. Of course, before they mailed it back to me, he did offer to buy it off of me, because it's probably the only piece in existence with all 3 generations signed.
It's an incredible piece. And I know just getting the multiple autographs on any item is tough. It's like the 80-81 basketball rookie with the 3. It's just like,
yeah,
just getting everyone in the right place or at the right times, plus not getting it damaged, impossible sometimes.
Actually, this one ties into that, the story with the autograph. This one was released on the day of the statue dedication outside of Fenway.
Red Sox released that card officially, or was it someone else? Or
I believe it was the Red Sox. There was this, and I've actually got one of they had miniature versions of the statue, or if it was a giveaway, I've got one of those, and I've also got, there was a, I don't know if you'd call it a probably a pamphlet, discussing, you know, it was a story behind the statue. At least I think that's all they released. I've got all 3 pieces, but not having been there, you know, there could be more. This was a piece. We're going to go back to the Venezuelan. This is not a card. They have, hopefully there's no glare. This is an actual sports magazine issued in Venezuela. This was back from '71 with Carl. I've actually got the original mailing envelope that went with it, that it came in. These are hard to find too.
I can imagine. It looks in great shape.
It really is for its age. It really is. And, you know, I'm not sure, the paper quality down there definitely was never as good as what we had here in the States.
Nope. That's why you can't find those Venezuelan high grade.
Yeah. Well, the cards were released with were released with an album. So they were actually meant to be pasted into a book. That's why you see so many with the back damage. In '68, after Carl had won the Triple Crown, there was a bakery in that area called Arnold's Bakery. And they had Carl signed a deal with them, and they started issuing different items. They released, well, let's go with this piece first. They released Yaz bread.
Special fitness bread.
This is actually one of the bread bags.
That's cool.
Now, I've heard rumor that there's somebody out there actually looking for one that has bread in it, and I don't know why in the world they would want that, because there's no way that bread's going to be any good.
It sounds like a way to get a lot of bugs in your place.
But as far as I know, there were 6 different pieces of memorabilia related to the bakery. There was the bag. There's this placemat. He was in an advertisement in the yearbook that year, which actually I didn't dig my yearbook out. There was this sportsmanship membership card. This is in pretty bad shape, but these are hard to find. He was also in, there was an ad in the, I don't know if you got, there was an ad in the '68 yearbook about the Yaz bread, which I didn't dig my yearbook out. My library doesn't have the order that I wish it had.
That's okay. My cards aren't organized at all, so it makes you feel
this piece here I found on eBay not too long ago, and I couldn't afford it, but I wanted to make sure that somebody that I knew would enjoy it got it. So I contacted Mark Hoyle again, and he actually got a hold of the guy, talked to the guy that had it, and the guy had 2 of them. He bought them both, and he sent me one of them. It's a sticker advertising that the Big Yaz bread is here. This is the first time I'd ever seen them. And the only other memorabilia that I've ever seen related to the bread is a ball cap, a little kid's ball cap that's actually has a patch on it or embroidered with the Yaz in this font from the bakery on the hat. But they're very, very hard to come by anymore. Any of it's very hard to come by anymore.
I can't imagine, like I said, I think I said a little bit earlier, but though, can't imagine how long it takes to find some of these items because you just don't see them.
Oh, there's stuff I'm still looking for that I've never seen, only as a picture. You know, I spoke earlier about Richard Grabowski in his book, and he had there was Yastrzemski Triple Crown potatoes, a potato sack. And yeah, it's like, where do you find this stuff? but I've never actually seen one other than in that book.
One day it was
There
like
was a dairy that had the old wax half-gallon milk cartons, All-Star Milk, Yaz Milk. I've only seen a picture of one of that once in my life. You know, it's like, where does this stuff go? Where does
it just never ends.
Okay, the first Bowman Chrome of Mike, his grandson, and of course the glare is going to be terrible.
That's all right. All the Chrome cards are.
Now that was back when he was still with the Orioles organization too.
They ended up trading him over to San Francisco. Did he cut
Yeah,
for that or?
yeah, they traded him over. Actually, I moved down here in the fall of 2018. I went to Sarasota, where the Orioles spring training is, in 2019. And then shortly after that, before the season, I think it was before the season even started, they traded him to San Francisco.
That was 3 generations of Carl Yastrzemski, really unique PC. And that's the fun part about this series, guys. We get to look at something new every single week. There's thousands of collectors that are going after something that they're very passionate about. Don't go after the same exact Prism cards like everyone else. Find your own PC and have fun with it. Hey, you can find you on Twitter. What your Twitter name was? What, at YazFan71?
Yes.
Perfect. So guys, make sure to give him a follow. YazFan71. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll be back next week with another one.